Welcome, traders. So let's have a look at the economic calendar news coming up this week. So first of all, just a minor thing. We've got the Empire State Manufacturing Index out on Monday. The New York contributes the largest amount, almost 10% of the US's GDP, and so this really assesses what the business climate is like, whether it's positive or negative. If it's negative, the implication is that it's struggling, not as good as it could be. But I'm curious to see if it's going to be slightly lower. So as it trends towards zero and above zero, it becomes incredibly positive. So I'm curious about that one. And then I was just going to mention there's a whole lot of CPI data coming out from Canada, for the UK, for New Zealand. So that'll be interesting as well. And then with regards to sensitivity towards inflation/recession, unemployment claims, we'll see that, look, it's tricky to predict, but I would expect that we're not free and clear, and therefore, is it possible that there could be a rise in unemployment claims? The question would be, is it 241? Is it small? Or is it really big? Is it sudden like 250 or 260? That would be a big spike to the market. Alternatively, actually, if it comes down, that would be also, the market would have, I would expect a reaction to that. And then finally, just the flash PMI data coming out of various other, out of Europe, out of the UK, and out of the US as well. Really, these are preliminary projected samples to see what the state of the economy or how it's doing. And so that'll be interesting. I don't really expect these to necessarily create any big spikes in the market, but I'll be curious anyway just to see how the market reacts to that. Okay, so let's go across and have a look at the charts. Okay, so we start off with the VIX, which has dropped pretty much down to these lows. So volatility sort of dropping there a little bit. Markets appear pretty stable. Then we move on and have a look at the dollar index. So dollar index could possibly double bottom here. We'll see a little bit of bullish divergence kind of creeping in there, hinting at a possibility for a pushback. We've just managed to break below. We're sitting at that 100 level. You can see the market does want to come back and test that. It is a significant number, and I want to see how the market reacts to it. So there could be some pushback. The question is it just back into this level of resistance and then a continuation down, or is it going to be a change in trend? All right, and so I say that because, for example, here, if I look at the daily on the euro dollar, beautiful daily trend, you can see this is quite a strong reaction here. So effectively, that's a U-turn. I would expect prices to come back down to 1.09, but the MACD seems fine. So it's not saying the trend is weak, but it's also potentially a bit of a double top combined with that projection. It could be a stronger pullback or a deeper pullback. We look at sterling and compare it. This is definitely a stronger reaction to that back into this level. It's definitely got a little bit of bearish divergence there. It's a strong bearish engulfing candle, and it's sitting at a major level. If you look at it on the weekly, you can see that it's struggling there. So, what's significant here, I think, looking at it from a monthly perspective, is broken through, like closed, managed so far to break through that, but that, the month isn't over yet. So again, here I'm expecting potentially a bigger move down, and so I'm taking all this in light with the US dollar. Same thing here with the Australian dollar against the US dollar. We can see a big knock off that level, and you can see it's struggling in this area as well. So could well be that the dollar is going to fight, put up a bit of a fight this week. And so we've got the same thing here, a U-turn on that, and just a bird's nest, just a mess over there. So not much clarity on that. If we look at dollar yen is starting to look more and more bullish, even here on that monthly. We look at dollar Swissy. Dollar Swissy is in a downtrend. It's got its own thing going on. It does look as though this trend is very nice and healthy, and my expectation here is that it should continue to the downside. So I'll be looking for entry opportunities to the downside on that. And that's interesting because obviously it's meant to be inversely correlated with the euro. It's highly correlated, but it's not precise. So interesting to see how that's going to work. And we can see here dollar CAD sitting at a major level of support within a general sort of flow to the upside. Will it be able to hold at the support level? So that's really what I'm kind of looking at. Is that dollar going to be able to, we're getting mixed signals there. So the question is, are we going to see, and we'll see it across in the rest of the charts. Actually, I'll just do a summary at the end. So not much happening here, nothing of interest on that. And again, we can see Euro Swissy pushed back down towards the next level down, which is really, it's just ping-ponging around. So again, nothing exciting there. And let's go through some of these individually. So how is the euro doing in general? There it is. So the euro is generally very nice and bullish. You can see it actually managed to break out very nicely. That's a great momentum thing. And I'm not sure yet whether it's going to encounter resistance here. But so the euro independently is looking nice and bullish. The GBP not as bullish, but still trending higher. Okay, so that's not so bad. Let's look at the Australian dollar. Also, managed to get a little bit stronger this last week, but hasn't managed to change its trend just yet. And then finally, let's look at the Canadian dollar. Here you can see relatively weak. Okay, potentially, most likely to just come back down to the bottom of this range. And actually, that was a failed breakout attempt out of that. So it looks like it's now going to start to head lower. So possibly expecting then a weaker Canadian dollar. And that's pretty much everything there. So let's go then and have a look at other items, especially maybe the currencies of interest. Again, I'm very much a fan of those JPY crosses this week. Some of them are waiting for nice pullbacks. Euro yen first on the list, very nice. Would love to see a pullback into 145 on the nose. Potentially could come a little bit lower than that, but that looks great. What it's potentially likely to do is run up before it comes back down. Let's have a look at any of the others. Euro Swiss, as I said, nothing there. Euro CAD, a little bit of a tight consolidation there. Not much happening there. Euro Aussie, highlighting this as a possible just a pullback and a retest. It's going a little bit flat there, so it might ultimately fail and come back down, but in isolation, that would be a bit of a bullish setup there. Euro Kiwi also looking as though that wants to continue higher. Look at that really nice, strong, healthy weekly candle. Looks pretty good. Liking the look of that pound yen. So let's go through the yen pairs. Just curious to see if there's any kind of setup here, whether they want to continue onwards. I'll just do Aussie yen. We'll do all the yen pairs first. You can see not much really happening there because the Australian dollar is not as strong, and the Kiwi dollar is not as strong. So not a lot to talk about there. CAD yen looking very, very nice. Really like the look of those yen crosses. Astounding Swissy yen as well, but that makes sense. We've got that. Swissy's doing its own thing, as we were saying earlier. So all of those look pretty good. Let's see if there's anything on the other pairs as well. We were looking at Euro Aussie, Euro Kiwi. No, there was nothing there. Pound Swissy. Yeah, Pound Swissy looking nice and bearish. So again, there could be on some of the Swissy crosses, there could be some moves to be had on that. Aussie Swissy, that could be a potential continuation to the downside. Kiwi Swissy as well. For day traders, they could possibly be some opportunities there. CAD Swissy not offering the same thing at all. Looks like it's got some strong support levels. And then finally, we've got Pound CAD because GBP is quite weak. We could see that potentially heading low. So there could be some nice shorting opportunities on that. Aussie CAD almost certainly wants to head lower as well. It's a nice little pullback into level. Could be a good continuation to the downside. And then finally, Kiwi CAD as well, looking nice. Broken through level support could be good for looking for continuation opportunities there as well. And in fact, actually looking at that monthly chart, there's really a nice wicks on top showing a series of exhaustion. This could be the couple of charts here are looking beautiful in terms of potential opportunities. Okay, so I was talking about getting some mixed signals here. You can see the gold. Look at gold. So it's had a move up, got knocked back down, move up, knocked back down, managed to move up, got knocked back down, move up, knocked back down. So there's definitely sellers in here or potentially caution around this major level. And so traders possibly extricating themselves from positions, taking partial profits. We are sitting at a historical level anyway. And so the question this week, again, is going to be, are we going to see a deeper pullback or a change in trend? Is it going to reject that level and we'll get another rejection of it? Silver, interestingly enough, is looking very keen to keep going. It's a very nice, happy, healthy trend. There's no bearish divergence on this, so it looks more likely at this time that it'll just be a retracement. But I'm still keeping the possibility open that that might not be the case. You've got copper with a solid rejection candle here within this area, and therefore a move lower could make sense. It's garbage on the weekly. That's just sideways motion. That's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just weeks of just kind of sideways motion. So I say garbage because it's got to break out of that at some point. This is what I find interesting as well. So natural gas is on my watch list. I've been talking about this, trying to turn around for a while. There's a series of bullish candles coming in here. I'm curious to see when you look at these larger candles that get smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Usually it's a tight consolidation. You get a burst that eventually breaks out. So is that going to happen? Is it going to be a move to the upside? This is why I've drawn in this green one. I'm very curious to see if this week we get a move, and it is something like that. Just more out of curiosity than anything else. It's an academic observation. I want to see it as based off this weekly kind of getting tighter and tighter and tighter. I want to see there's an explosive move to the upside. We've got bullish, lots more bullish green candles in here. Nice level of support. We've definitely got some bullish divergence coming in there. A lot of signs that this is trying to turn around. Doesn't mean it will succeed, but it is trying to turn around. Crude oils. Okay, so they're just up at a major level of resistance, and really this week I want to see if they can push higher. But I have to say, looking at that monthly, that's looking more and more bullish by the day. Doesn't mean it'll necessarily just take off, but it looks like it is leaning to the upside there. Brent crude as well. Okay, same thing again. Small green candle in the moving averages here, offer level support. Yeah, there's a possibility we're going to see these start to head high, which could provide opportunities for traders. Wheat, as well, has been trying to turn around for a very long time. Really nice, again, series of bullish candles here, offer level support, bullish divergence, really nice strong candle here. I'm curious to see if these then become opportunities to the upside. Coffee has been performing well. Yep, bit of a close to a double top here, a little bit of concern there, but I would expect a pullback at least. So there could be a stronger dollar, possibly a stronger dollar at some point this week. Sugar just on fire, obviously, already looking ready to keep going, but it does need to retrace at some point. It's going to have to take a bit of a breather. Cotton, interesting to me. Is it going to break out clear bullish momentum on the MACD at a flat level here? So I've just questioned whether it's going to do a breakout. It's not a clear, obvious sign. It's just completely entangled in the moving averages here. It's sitting at major levels. It's mostly, again, also a bit of a garbage chart. So question is it going to be able to break out? But interesting nonetheless. Moving on to the global indices. So here, what I find interesting is I've just kind of marked that general bearish line. I'm going to update it. I'm going to just quickly adjust it to kind of match this high here, because I'm curious to see if this week we get the market pushing to the upside and working its way out of it. In the monthly, I mean, look at the monthly. That wasn't really a super strong close for March, but we've already broken the high. And again, we've even we're operating closing above those highs. So the market looks more bullish than bearish. Now, Michael Burry, you'll know him from The Big Short. He's pretty confident that the US is not out, and therefore the global economy is not out of the hole it got itself into last year, and that there is a very real possibility that we're going to have a second leg down. So let me move on to the S&P and talk about it on the S&P. So I've kind of just so I've just kind of marked this. This looks really nice and bullish. Price action here is beautiful, and it's trying to break to that level, and it could fail. It could fail. It could succeed. It looks bullish. Okay, that's what I'm telling you. The market is bullish now, but that doesn't mean it can't fail. So the point is that Michael Burry is hinting at the idea that there could be a second leg down. So if I had to draw it, it would be something like this. I'll go from this high down to this low, and we could have something like that. So if the market comes back up, we could have a second low, which could bring us down to that level. Now, as traders, we can keep operating in the markets. It doesn't necessarily mean there aren't going to be opportunities. So I bring it up because the reason is I want to keep that as an idea. I'm going to be looking to see if there are signs of the market potentially struggling or failing. Big clues would be very bearish closes like this. That would be a sign. But also, at the same time, how far would the market have to go up before that idea is negated? Would it get back up to the top here and then double top and then come down? We'd have to see. We are definitely in uncharted territories. We can remain calm. There's no reason to panic about this, but we want to just keep that idea in mind. And so what would the market have to do to get me thinking along those lines? I don't want to assume it's going to do that, because that's the problem. Right now, the markets look really bullish, and it's going to be a slow turning thing. This turnaround here was like 7-8 months. And if it's going to turn around, it's going to take 6 months. So there's no reason to panic, but just to keep that idea in to see if that's going to be the case. Right now, again, looking at this, the markets look quite bullish here. Okay, we'll see how well they cope with these levels pushing high. So looking at the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is trying to catch up as well, and you can see it had a very, very nice March. It was a bullish engulfing candle that closed right at the edges, meaning it was buying until the close of that. Okay, so we still have inflationary issues, and we still have inflationary issues, and and obviously they haven't gone. And a lot of the markets just want to get back to, they want to get bullish again. Now, also there's this. I'm going to say this. This is purely, by the way, my opinion. It's just based on intuition here. There's a lot of talk. People seem very confident that if the markets are going to struggle, there's going to be QE reintroduced. So in other words, stimulus cash put into the market again. I don't think so. I don't think so. It would have to be an incredibly dire situation for that to be the case. This is my thinking. Biden has been around for 50, 60 years. I mean, he's really been in the markets for absolutely forever. I think he's that kind of person who's like, no, we're just going to have to pay the debt. We're just going to have to suffer through. So in other words, it's just going to have to be tough until, that's what I think. And I therefore don't think that I think it's going to be an absolute last resort. It could happen, but I think it's going to be an absolute last resort. And to be honest, it's not even really up to Biden. It's up to the Fed. They'll have to decide what they're going to do on that. But so I shouldn't even really have kind of introduced that idea, but I should just say that I think this time around, the markets are going to be very loath to do that. And they're probably still going to want to rate hikes. They're going to push the system to its complete, to take as much strain as possible. So we'll see. Look, and that's just an opinion. All right. Sideways here on the Russell, not expecting too much from that. The FTSE, look at this, man, up at all these kind of really up near these sort of highs over here. Looking okay so far. We could see if there's going to be a reaction or if it's going to break through to all-time highs, but it does need a pullback. We do need to have a retracement on that. It can't keep going the way it is. And look at this as well. We've got the DAX pushing up through or back up to these all-time highs. So the markets are, especially non-US markets, are certainly not pessimistic. Doesn't mean they won't necessarily, maybe we'll get that double top, but let's just see what happens when it gets there. I'm always cautious as we approach major levels anyway. Here's the Australian SX looking really nice, currently a really nice bullish candle. Can we break the high of March? What do we got here? So what's the high here? The high is 7370 and 7370. Okay, wait, I didn't even look at the digits. Okay, so we haven't broken the high yet. We're very close to doing that. And we got the neck high. Look, it's trying to break out of this box. I've been talking about this for ages. Looks like it's got to get free and clear. It's got to close out. But that's a good sign. And again, I was saying to you that I would take that as a sign, a bullish sign, if it managed to get out of this, which it has been in since 2021. Wow. Holy cow. So a long, long, long time. Okay, moving on to the equities of interest. Overall, looking nice and healthy, but we need retracement. So I'm a little cautious of as we approach major levels. Amazon as well, also actually looking interesting to me. Look, it's in a downtrend on the monthly. It's got lower highs, lower lows. So it is in a downtrend. On the weekly, it's starting to push up to try to break. Remember that the rule is that if it starts to get above that 50, the red 50 period moving average on the weekly, it becomes more bullish than bearish. Okay, that's a very loose application, but it is close to doing that, and that will make it very interesting. Because that means that Amazon could be going through a bit of an accumulation phase. AT&T pushing up, but it's back into its danger zone. So its danger zone has been rejected multiple times, and it's going to be interesting to see. It's certainly approaching that area. I want to see if it gets rejected or not. We've got ARC looking interesting to me as well. So also going through a little bit of a phase here. Not looking super, super bullish to me, but I think it's got a shot at breaking a little bit higher. Glencore is nice little bullish inside candle here. So to me, that is a nice bullish signal. That looks really good, actually. So looking for that to keep pushing a little bit higher. We've got Tesco. Yeah, looking fine. I mean, that's a bit of a knockback there as it goes up to that, but it's pushing its way back up to its old highs. We've got Amex. Oh, I was talking about this head and shoulders because I wanted to see if we broke low. It's still in play, but I don't think we're necessarily going to get that, but it's still in play until we break above this shoulder. So we'll see if that happens. And you can see there's a little bit of a resistance level here at 165. So can we get through that? We'll find out. Berkshire Hathaway back up at the danger zone. So can it get through that? Yes, I think it's got a good shot at that. I think it has a good shot at that. So this week, last week I was kind of saying the market couldn't really tell. It was a little bit uncertain. How's it going to go? And it finished strong. So this week we could see it continue and push through. But yeah, it's certainly not fragile. It's doing okay. This looks good as well. Coca-Cola is looking good, pushing back up to its highs, and that's going to boost Berkshire's. Berkshire's got big holdings in that, and so Coca-Cola is a major constituent of its portfolio. Okay, we've got price back up. BP at its danger zone. Can it get through that? It's looking like it's going to try. So the markets, ladies and gentlemen, are kind of pushing higher quite a bit. Exxon, same thing again, looking nice and bullish, up at its danger zone, but let's see if we can get through that. Then we get on to, say, General Motors, hovering down near the bottom here. So not looking as strong at all. We've got JP Morgan Chase. Look at that entire jump. That's a massive gap up. So again, is looking pretty good. Okay, so some bullishness there. Adidas, I was just curious. I wanted it to pull back into this area. I haven't seen anything on that yet, but we're still breaking, creating fresh highs. So let's see if that goes. Meta doing very well. This is steady, steady movement. To me, this smacks a little bit of institutional buying. It's just too steady. It's like a heartbeat. It's just going tick, 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 all the way up. And look at those weekly charts. To me, I feel like this is accumulation. It just feels that way. It's just way too steady. Considering how rocky it's been, it seems to have just kind of calmed down. You know, I don't use Facebook anymore. I'm actually amazed. If I do, it's because I get a message that someone sent me or something random, but I really just don't use it anymore. So I'm not sure who's using it. We'll see. I'll keep an eye on this. But the point is, that's just very steady buying at that point. Now we are back on Morgan Stanley. which is just, look, that's a bullish setup at the bottom of a range. It could push higher. If we break the high, I'd like to break these previous highs to see it go there. Nvidia as well has been doing incredibly well. I'm curious to see whether this is going to be a double bottom and it's going to carry on from there. I was actually looking for a retracement back down towards 250, down towards 230 potentially. And so I want to see if that's not that far. 250 sits about here and 230 is obviously there. Anywhere for it to come back down, we'll see. Or if it's so bullish, it'll just stay where it is and we'll see it move up from this one. So let's just go there and mark that and see if it's going to take off. This is where I was expecting price to potentially come back to. Netflix overall is trying desperately to break through this thing. I'm just going to adjust this again. I like to keep that. It's a line in the sand. So basically I put a line there, and if it keeps breaking it, then it's obviously not necessarily that weak. Let's see if that's going to be the case. PayPal. That looks really good. To me, this looks incredibly bullish. It has managed to keep breaching these lines. This is like a very messy version of an upside down head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders. Look at the MACD is just trending higher. It's just bullish. Starting to cross over the zero line, which is an additional bullish signal. I think it's looking like this is potentially going to take off. That's interesting to me. That's PayPal. So PayPal's absolutely on my watch list there. And then we've got, what's this? Spotify. Spotify looks okay. Just a bit of, you can see some wicks coming in here, so it's struggling in this area. Then we've got Spider, which looks fine. Yeah, I mean, nothing sexy about this at all, but it looks like it's managing to break. I want to see if it can break and continue up. FedEx, nice little signal here. So this is interesting. That would be, if you disregard this, that would be a buy signal. That would be like a clue that it's going to push high. It's broken this downtrend. What I mean is it's broken the angle of momentum. It is still technically in a downtrend. It's got lower highs and lower lows. Hasn't breached above this high, but it has broken that momentum, that angle. So it's now more bullish than bearish. And again, here the weekly, it's above the 50-period moving average. And not just that, it broke above it, came back and produced this massive bullish engulfing candle and has taken off since then. So this, to me, represents way more energy to the upside than down, and I expect it to continue. Then I look at this and I find this interesting because that's a clear failure to get above that level, and then it produces, takes a bit of a breather, and now it's going to attempt to break through. So good luck to you, all FedEx. Let's see if you can break through and stay above that level. I know you're going to try. Let's see if that's going to be the case. This is just kind of sideways motion here on Tesla. Tesla, this is its danger zone. Okay, so its danger zone right now is it's not free and clear until it gets back up above that, and we're going to have to just see what happens. So we will just see. If we break below that, I would. Then if we break below this, we break below March's low, then there's a fair likelihood we're going to see it start to go lower. The real red flag would be if Tesla starts dropping and other tech stocks are climbing, because it's a tech stock and obviously car manufacturers. So if other car manufacturers and tech stocks are climbing and Tesla's dropping, that would point the finger directly at Tesla. And so we'll see if that's going to be the case. I'd expect it to get a bit of a boost, but if it's not moving up while everything else is, that's a major red flag to me. Vanguard, pushing higher, looks good. Most of these look good. Okay, it's looking nice and bullish. Look at that monthly. Really nice candle last month. Closed right near the highs, right above this level. It's trying to continue onwards. Looks okay. Right, let's move on to Treasuries. So you can see they're just, again, battling here. No one's buying them at this time, really. Looking at it from a weekly perspective, just 4 candles in a row, struggling with that 50-period moving average. And, very clear when you look at a chart on the monthly. Just cannot get above that level. It's struggling. And it's already broken that level here, so we can just get rid of that. Okay, so now looking more bearish than anything else. Still producing high lows, high highs, but, well, now it's more range-bound than anything else. Eurobond, breaking low. It's now on a downtrend. I would expect it then to keep going. So we had this bullish divergence, expecting it to push back. I think we still have that divergence. Look at the weekly here. We're still producing that. So I think we might find that it gets support in these areas. We'll see how that goes. And then wrap it up on on cryptos. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so I spoke about the bearish divergence here, and I expected this to be a false breakout. To some degree, I still do think that's a possibility, but it's up. I want to see if we can come back and find support here and then continue on upwards, or it's going to have to consolidate until that works its way out of the system. We look at Ethereum, and it's beautiful. Everything about this looks fantastic. It's got a beautiful MACD. Any kind of pullbacks here for me are buying opportunities. So I really, really like the look of that. Solana also has managed to break higher. That's good, and that has now looking very, very nice. It's moving into bullish territory. Cardano is looking good as well. Beautiful MACD, beautiful price action here. They need pullbacks, but they're looking really good. And Binance, and I'm really chuffed to see these things happen when the market was looking a little bit cautious a week ago, and has kind of managed to just power through. This also looks good. Except again, you've got a higher high here and you've got a lower high there. So the market's a bit in disarray, but again, this also looks like it's building up. Look, we've got a series of high lows there going into a potential breakout to the upside. So what I'd like to know is this week, are we going to get a build up in momentum? Are we going to see some of these markets have been sluggish for a while start to pick up pace? It is interesting to me. I'm not really seeing anything in the news that could lead to a massive rejection of this, but I also see there are some hints that maybe the markets need a retracement, and the question is that dollar going to come back into full swing, or is it just going to continue to play the part it has been recently? For the most part, things appear to be stable, and I hope that they stay that way. I'm going to leave you with that, ladies and gents. I want to wish you a fantastic week. Plan your trades and trade your plan. And that's it. Thanks very much from me. Have a great one.